Anti-Israel and pro-Hamas demonstrations, of course, are continuing to clash with police at colleges nationwide, and as university administrators are continuing to struggle to contain all the chaos. If there was ever any doubt about whose side the Iranian regime was on, yesterday, Iran's foreign minister, Hossein Amir Abdollahian, applauded the activist. Yes, applauded the activist. And he did so on social media, but at the same time, he's calling for the United States to cease our support for Israel. Amazing that some people actually in this country are going to be listening to the leaders of Iran as it relates to our relationship with Israel. Well, now, with all the protests taking place and the end of college semesters rapidly approaching, as well as elections coming up in November, many people are asking and wondering if the violence is going to spill over into the summer months. Well, joining me now to discuss this is Congressman Ben Cline. He serves on the House Appropriations Committee as well as the Budget Committee and the Judiciary Committee. He represents the 6th Congressional District of the great state of Virginia. Congressman Cline, welcome back to the program.
Jody, it's great to see you. It's always great to be on the program, but I'm glad to see you today as well.
Well, listen, you and I were at we were at the same event the other day, and unfortunately, when I saw you, the program was already taking place, and then after I spoke, I had to go catch a plane, so I apologize for not being able to speak to you then, but it was great to see you there, and it's great to see you now, and just deeply appreciate all that you do. All right, let's start with your reaction to these overall protests that, quite frankly, don't appear to be dying down at all.
No, they don't seem to be dying down, and that's much to the dismay of the Biden campaign team. And it's just uncovering the truth, which is that the radical left, supported by and endorsed by terrorist groups around the world, are doing what they can to stoke unrest across the country. Whether it's in the name of Palestine, whether it's in the name, you name it. But these protests are going to continue into the summer. And as it gets hotter and tempers flare, it's the potential for more disruption is evident. And it's going to be very unsettling as the summer goes on.
Wow. So you see this continuing throughout the summer. What do you think is driving all of this? What is the fuel, if you will, behind all these protests, in your opinion?
Well, I do think that it is over the course of the last several years, we've seen a liberal indoctrination of college students and young people. It doesn't matter whether it's environmental rhetoric or whether it's international support for Hamas or those types of groups. I think a lot of it may be stoked as well by the Chinese Communist Party, as well through TikTok and other types of apps that are on the phones of young people. So not only is it being abused by the left to infiltrate and indoctrinate young minds, but it's being also abused by some of our greatest adversaries to foment dissent and division within American culture.
It's absolutely stunning, and to think of all that fueling. I mean, we have outside countries that are pushing this, and it's amazing how some of these students just jump into all of this, some of which, in fact, got a clip here. I'd like to, if we can, let's play clip 4, and I'd like to get your reaction to this.
Is there something that NYU is doing?
I really don't know. I'm pretty sure they're... Do you know what NYU is doing? About what? About Israel. Why are we protesting here?
Palestine will be free!
I wish I was more educated. I'm not either.
I don't know if you could understand that, but it was a couple of students up at New York University, protesters, And they were asked, why are you here? What are you protesting? And they didn't know. They said, well, I don't really know why we're here. And she looked to her neighbor and said, do you know why we're here? Do you know why we're, well, no, I wish I was more educated. So, I mean, you've got all this stuff taking place. And then you have some students out there protesting. They don't even know why they're protesting. They're just jumping in the party or perhaps being paid by someone to do so. But it's just incredible to me. Do you think we're going to see yet another a repeat, if you will, of what happened in the summer of 2020?
Gosh, I hope not. I hope that cooler heads prevail. But when you have examples like that, and I've seen interviews with students chanting from the river to the sea, and don't even know what river or what sea they're talking about. So their anti-Israel chants, their anti-Semitic chants, and they don't even know where they come from or what they're talking about. So hopefully they can get educated. Hopefully they go back to class, because that's where the education occurs, and they can finish up their school year and then go get jobs for the summer, because that would actually help a lot, not only the students and their bank accounts, but also the country, and it would avoid the kind of summer unrest that we saw across the country in 2020.
Wow, well, it really makes you wonder if they're getting that kind of education in some of, I guess, poison ivy league schools. It's just incredible. But Speaker Johnson actually indicated this week that Congress should and likely will consider reconsidering the billions of dollars that go into some of these universities. Do you agree with that? Do you think that may have some traction?
Absolutely. And on appropriations, there's going to be a concerted effort to make sure that colleges and universities across this country don't embrace anti-Israel rhetoric or any kind of discriminatory rhetoric against Israel or Jewish people. So I think there'll be a serious look into that. And I know a lot of my colleagues on the Appropriations Committee not only strongly support Israel, but voted in favor of the funding bill that is going to help them make sure that their Iron Dome is functioning as they receive these hundreds of incoming missiles from Iran and other countries, other places, trying to destroy the Israeli nation. We've got to stand up for Israel, and we'll look within our own appropriations measures to make sure we do that.
Well, that's great to hear, and I would love to see some of these universities take a pretty big hit on some of that funding. You mentioned the Appropriations Committee. There's an effort underway to reform some earmark spending after some fortunate projects actually slipped into the appropriations bills. Tell us about that.
So the appropriations process, there's been abuse of the earmark system, or earmarking funds for a specific purpose. Now they call them something different, community projects. But we have tried to ban them, but the Democrats love them. And so they've been allowed, with the help of Democrats and some Republicans, to keep those in place. And so then we've moved on to trying to restrict them to very limited uses, government funding programs that are either embraced by the state or local governments. And what we've heard from Congressman Tom Cole, the new chairman of the Appropriations Committee, is that he supports not allowing nonprofits to get these types of get this type of funding through these appropriations measures. I think that's a great step forward, but I'm not sure it's as far as we need to go.
Well, Congressman Ben Cline, thank you so much for joining us on Washington Watch. Always great to see you, and we appreciate your input and hope you and your family have a great weekend.